welcome back. In this video, we are talking about the last of the Hermetic principles. This is the principle of gender.
Yes, gender. Okay. Now, there's a division with gender in Hermetics. There's what they call just gender, which is more or less physical gender, and then they have what they call mental gender. It's more social gender than mental. It's more roles.
Okay.
That people take on, where physical genders are actually physical differences between them. However, the first breakdown of gender at all, the first division, is just energy that's projective and energy that's receptive. That's really it. There is no negative characteristic between masculine and feminine until you get into the social roles. Then you have negative aspects and positive aspects for each. However, when we talk about gender itself, and we'll go to astrology for this, Sun rules Leo, one sign, masculine sign. Okay. The Moon rules Cancer, one sign, feminine sign. The planets rule two signs, and it's one of each gender.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the Sun and Moon are over what the Hermetics actually call gender. Mars and Venus are over social gender.
Interesting.
Okay. And that's the first big division we need to talk about, because that's where I think most people get confused on this when it comes into that.
Right.
When that comes into play. Okay. And the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus didn't help, because it never talked about the sun or the moon, because those were just metaphors it was using, and it didn't really understand it. The guy who wrote it didn't understand astrology all that well. Okay. He just knew that the sign for Mars is male sign, and sign for Venus was women's sign. Okay. Nothing. I'm not saying anything wrong with the books at all. I don't want anybody to take that, but it's not the same. And that's not true physical gender. That's social, and that's what he's talking about. He's talking about gender roles. Okay. And he says men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Okay. Now, are there differences? There are, and we will talk about those in a minute. But let's go back to Sun and Moon in true gender. We'll just call it true gender. Because it's not a construct.
Right.
Social gender are constructs that form out of survival modes and things of that nature. Okay. But true gender, males, bone structure is different than a female.
Right.
Okay. In males, our bone structure is bigger. Okay. Muscle density is more. Our lung capacity is larger in men. Okay. There are reasons for this. Our center of balance is in our shoulders.
Right.
Okay. Which can be fun, because there's a little exercise that you can do that make men look kind of goofy. Have them stand with their backs against the wall, forward. Tell them to bend forward and touch their toes without moving forward. As soon as they get to about here, they'll fall on their face.
Yeah.
Okay? Because normally when men touch their toes, what happens is the butt goes out, and it keeps going out until they can get down here, and then it comes back and they pull it back out. Women can stand against a wall and go straight down and touch their toes and stand back up.
Wow.
Because their center of balance is in their hips and not in their shoulders. Okay. Now, I'm not saying all women should go out there and try to do this, because if you've never practiced it, you might fall on your face. Okay. But essentially, that's one of the tricks.
Okay.
Women's hips are bigger because birthing. Okay. Men's shoulders, for moving, picking things up, moving them out of the way, they need more physical strength. Okay. That is not a role.
Right.
Okay, that is a physical reality. It's just the way it is. Okay, and of course, it's all started with hormonal balances in the body. Okay, men create much more testosterone than women do, and men do create estrogen, just not as much. Women create a lot more estrogen than they do testosterone. Okay, and that it's needed.
Right.
Okay, the balance is getting them together.
Mm.
Okay, that's the balance. They each balance each other out.
Right, right.
And the trick is trying to get them to come together and make it all work. Okay, and that's where social gender gets in the way in a lot of respects. Okay, so we've got the mental gender. Okay, and then energetically, again, one's projective, one is receptive. Feminine energy is receptive. Masculine energy is projective. Energy is energy.
Right.
And then masculine energy divides into fire and air.
Mm-hmm.
Fire being more spirit, drive, expression.
Right.
Okay. Air, interaction, right? Interacting with something else that's there. It's still projective. Feminine energy, water,
and
sensitivity,
yeah.
absorption. Okay. Earth energy, substance, still within.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The thing about feminine energy is what determines, because we all talk about, unification, everything's connected, blah, 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 blah.
Right, right.
Everything can be connected. However, when it comes to Earth is what allows us to be conscious of the fact that you're you and I'm me and we're not the same thing.
Right, right.
We can be connected on a certain level, but Earth, with its ability to consolidate,
right,
okay, and that consolidation says that I am me and you are you, and this table is not us either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this table is also not the floor. So at a certain level, this table is conscious, and consciousness is also feminine, and unconsciousness is feminine. There's one, right?
Right, right.
Wow. Okay, so what is it? Subconscious.
Subconscious.
Subconscious is fire.
Yep.
You do things you're not thinking about doing them, but you're doing them. You're expressing. Okay, you're just not conscious of the expression.
Right, right.
Okay, your conscience. Okay, it's interacting with something. I know this isn't right. I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, it's an interaction.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Not conscious, but conscience. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then, and it's all cardinal energy as far as astrology is concerned. Your consciousness is Capricorn.
Right.
Your unconscious is Cancer.
Yep.
Okay. Your subconscious is Aries.
And
your conscience is Libra.
Libra.
Okay. And that's how it balances out as far as the wheel is concerned.
Okay.
In a person.
Wow.
On your wheel. Okay. So it's in complete balance at that point. All right. Now, when we get into mental gender again, Mars and Venus. Well, Mars rules Aries, right? It also rules Scorpio on a personally. It has more to do with Aries than it does Scorpio. It is not a 50-50 balance with it. Venus rules Taurus. And Libra.
Yeah.
There's more to do with Taurus, again, not a 50-50 split, than Libra. Okay? But each of those planets rules a masculine and feminine sign. And that's where social gender comes from.
Okay.
And mental gender. Okay? And that comes from survival. Okay? Because of the differences physically in the physical gender, men were generally the protectors. They were the ones that went out and did the hunting.
Right.
A lot of the time. They're the ones that were, if you look at the lions, they didn't go out so much and do the hunting, even though they do hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were the protectors of the pride
Right.
and their territory. So hyenas come in, male lions go flying. Okay, if there are no male lions out, the hyenas come in and attack the lionesses because they're not afraid of them
Right.
like they are the male lions. Then the male lions come in and start killing hyenas, and the hyenas take off.
Yeah, they hightail it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
yeah.
See ya. For the most part, unless they're super outnumbered, but even at the same time, they don't ever want to see the male ones coming
Mm-hmm.
when they're doing their stuff. And that's where that role comes on. But male lions are also dominant in the pride.
Right.
First thing they do when a male lion takes over a pride is they kill the cubs. And that's a survival thing too, but it's a gene survival thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Unconsciously and subconsciously they know that's not my line.
Mm-hmm.
My line needs to go because I beat the other lion. My line's better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for whatever reason, age or whatever. So they come in, they kill the cubs. It also makes the female lionesses go into heat,
Right.
so to speak, because they'll want to have more cubs.
Okay.
And the new ones, cubs. Okay. If there are times though when they're too old and they just take over the pride, and a lot of times the other male lions will leave the pride.
A lot of them do. Yeah.
Yeah, when someone takes over.
Right. Right.
Okay. And a lot of times they're chased away, mainly because at some point there's probably going to be a clash between them.
Right. Right.
When he gets big enough to say, "Hey, wait a minute, maybe I want to take over the pride." No, you killed my dad. You know, that kind of thing. But anyway, so when we're talking about like human beings, they're societally, because of how different we are from most other animals on the planet, we run things differently and we do things differently. So, social, with the society that we live in now, there are a lot of crossovers now.
There are. There
You
are.
know? It used to be more of a split. Men worked, women stayed at home, took care of the kids, blah, blah, blah. That was the societal structure. Society has gotten to the point, though, where the survival it's not mandated anymore.
Right.
Women can survive without a man having to be there to protect them from another man coming in and taking over, which is the way it used to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a long time ago. So that's your social gender, and the roles can flip-flop. They can change because of that.
Right. Right.
Okay. That's the big difference
Okay.
between true gender and mental gender. Okay. But if we're going to talk about things like sports, true gender is going to cause problems. That's why there has to be a division between male and female sports. Because true gender, you can't get around true gender. You can't get around bone mass. You can't get around muscle mass. You can't get around lung capacity. You can't get around normal size, average size.
Right. Right.
You know, men on average are larger than women. It's just going to be that way. Men on average are stronger than women. Okay, men on average are more aggressive than women.
Mm-hmm. It's that
Even at play.
Yeah, that competitive edge. Yeah.
Well, it's not so much competitive because women compete against each other just in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Men go at it. They just blah, 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 you know. They'll either play against each other or they fight each other. It's one of the two.
Right. Right.
Even best friends at some point are going to throw down or get each other. There's going to be a confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women are more subtle
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
in that aggression. So, even though Mars and Venus is in everyone's chart, so it's there, women are going to take on more of the Scorpio in their Mars, and then they're going to take on more of the Libra.
Okay.
Relating, interacting. Something's wrong. How can I fix this? Okay, women,
Right.
I don't want you to fix this. I just want you to listen to me. And then going, no, 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 no. There's a problem. I have to fix the problem. That's my job.
Right. Right.
Okay, that's inherent in most men. So we always trying to come up with a solution. Well, if you do this, I didn't come here for advice. I just need to get it out, right? Where men are like, yeah, I just go in the garage and get the bag, or lift some weights, or do something like that. It's not that women don't work out, but that's not the first thing they run to.
Yeah.
They just need to get it out. Okay. And they don't want to know whether you think they're right or wrong about the whole thing. They just need to vent.
Right.
Right? And a lot of times men don't vent. They'll keep it inside, and then they go out and beat up the punching bag, or they take it out on somebody else.
Right. Good old bar fights.
Well, bar fights are just being aggressive towards people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and coming off as a jerk.
Right.
Okay, non-emotional kind of thing. All right, so that's always going to have a play. But in society, you don't have to. That doesn't have to be socially. You don't have to follow the constructs that have been set in stone.
Right.
Okay, you can have women CEOs. You can have things of that nature. It's not that. All right, they can be in control of what things that they need to be that need to be controlled.
That's
because we have constructs and order that make that
right.
That take it out of the survival mode.
That's certainly the thing. I mean, we can even talk in the metaphysical community. We're starting to get more men that are empaths and healers and stuff like that.
We are. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Although the field is dominated by females.
Yeah.
There are men that are opening up a little bit more to it. But I think that's, especially in regard to the kind of some of the stuff that or a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we bring more of a science side into it. And,
right.
We bring more of a masculine energy to it. But men are waking up to it. But again, if you want to talk about rules and things of that nature too, yes, men have all of the energy needed for empathic, psychic development, and all of those, everything that needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Right? They just have to do it kind of in a different way. All right, and they also have to be honest about it.
Right.
Because if we're going to talk about this, we might as well talk about the whole thing honestly. There are, I've run into them. There are a lot of men out there who are in the metaphysical field for one reason, and that is to meet girls. Okay, and they take advantage of that. And when I see it, I don't like it. I'll call it out when I see it, because that's not why you're there, so to speak. But you get that in every field anyway.
You do get it in every field, but it's not cool anywhere you see it.
No, it's not. It's not. And in the metaphysical community, there was a big problem with that back in like the 60s, 70s. More so, I think, than later on. But it still happens. It still happens. They take advantage of situations and things of that nature. And I've noticed that a lot more men seem to be drawn to astrology than just like mediumship.
Right.
Well,
that's you don't get. I was going to say, when it comes to the medium arts, tarot, intuitive readings, anything like that, you really don't find a whole lot of men. You really don't.
No, you don't. But you find some. There are some out there.
There are some.
Yeah, but there's not as many.
But like you said, I think it's the science aspect to
Well,
astrology that is really attractive.
It is, and then you have to also, again, looking at it from an astrological point of view, if you've got a lot of feminine energy in your chart and you're a male physically, that's going to come through. It is. In behavior, okay, in how you interact with people, okay, and how sensitive you are, things of that nature.
Right.
Okay. So, and again, because we live in a society that has gotten away from a lot of the survival aspects.
Right.
At least on the surface, okay, they could be more prominent now with that side of them.
Mm.
Where before they would have been attacked and made fun of and destroyed,
right,
so
right.
to speak, socially. And when I say, you know, on the surface, that's because even though we have the social roles, there are other roles that men take on in society that most women don't because of physical gender.
Right, right.
Plumbing, physical labor.
Oh, yeah, you get that even in like your first responders, police, firemen.
Yes, yes. Men are built better for breaking down a door.
Yeah,
okay,
that's just how it is.
And running in.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and we're more prone to be drawn to something like that because it's a way to get that aggressiveness out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing that goes to our mind. Is, you know, it's the door or me, and it's not going to be me. So I'm going to go through the door, right? Give me the axe. You know, it's over. Okay. But even guys that I know that they're not super tall,
mm-hmm.
you know, but for like, a guy that we work with, Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
He used to carry bags of cement up ladders and things for a construction company, right?
Right.
Okay. A lot of women aren't built for that. We are because again, we have that the shoulder strength. Throwing those on, okay, or the firemen carry, same thing.
Yeah.
Boom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, even if we're not huge. Okay, our bodies are built for carrying weight there
mm-hmm.
and not here.
Right.
That's just the way it is. It's not saying that no women can do that. I'm not saying that at all. Most women are not built to do that. Most men are.
Right.
It's the way we are. Physically.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that there aren't really small men out there that can't do that. I'm not saying that at all. Or strong women out there that can do those things. I'm not saying that either. But on average, that's what men are built for.
Right, right.
We're built for carrying things, for moving things. So the nasty stuff that most people don't like to think about, you know, like, you know, what happens when you flush the toilet, you know, or your drains are clogged, or, you know, somebody who's going into the sewer, kind of a thing. Most men are going to be like, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can do this. I can do the dirty stuff, the dirtier stuff, the nastier jobs of that nature, the more physical jobs. Okay, and most women are like, I don't want to do those jobs. And there's nothing wrong with women saying, I don't want to do that job.
No, absolutely not.
At all.
Yeah.
Okay, don't do them.
But again,
but the thing is, you can't be okay with that and then turn around and go, it's, you know, the workplace is unfair in that regard. It's like, well, no one's, if you've got 90% of men are applying for this particular job, okay, 90% of the people working those jobs are probably going to be men. 10% are going to be women.
Right.
Okay, and then you can't force women to apply for those jobs if they don't want to do those jobs.
Right. Well, and
that's just how it's going to be.
You know, you get the same thing on the flip side too. The empathic fields, like nursing or anything like that.
Yes.
Women are
Well, you've got male nurses too.
You do, but by and large, women are more empathically inclined.
They are. They are empathically inclined. They want to nurture things of that. Yeah. I mean, midwives.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're called midwives, and not mid people. I mean, because most men aren't going to be midwives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to be like, okay, I got to build a house. We're having a kid.
Right.
You know, need to add on. Need to do something. You know. So right.
But at its base, it's a balance.
Yes, there are things. Yeah, because most men aren't going into that field.
Energetic balance.
Right. Most men aren't going into that field. You know, they're just they just don't. And there are other fields. I mean, there's all over the place. You can find them.
But you get it everywhere. I mean, yes, the differences are getting smaller in some of the fields, like teaching and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's a weird one. The teaching one is a weird one because it depends on what you're teaching.
Right.
Okay.
And again, that does come into play too, because elementary teacher or college professor.
Well, not even that. If you're teaching about feeling instead of logic, you're going to get more women involved. If you're teaching logic over feeling, you're going to get more men involved.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Okay, that's just how that's going to be. Now, that doesn't mean that women are not logical, because Earth energy is very logical.
Oh yeah,
Capricorn,
Virgo.
That, yeah, Virgo, Capricorn, yeah. Okay, it's the intellectual reasoning, theory.
Right.
It's the mental processes where men strive to go, and they want to set the feelings aside and just teach this.
Right.
Women like to bring the feeling in, more social things, and men are like more academic push for the most part when they teach. But there's been a shift in that balance in the schools. Feeling over academics. Okay, where there needs to be a balance.
Right, and there absolutely does need to be a balance.
And that seems to be the issue that human beings have as far as balance goes. We don't ever stop. No matter which way it's going, we keep going until it gets ridiculous, and then we go, that's it. It's like, can you just stop in the middle and just stay there? How about that? That would be nice,
Yeah.
Just find the balance and go with it.
Yeah.
And don't change anything after that.
That Libra energy. Balance and harmony.
Balance and harmony. Let's just balance this out, guys. No, we don't need to. Nope.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Okay. And then part of it's going to be have the Pisces aspect to it, and the Neptunian influence of fantasy.
And inherent chaos. Yeah.
Fantasy, and then no structure. No order for the most part. There's no order to it. So that's where you get the mix in of, it's okay for men and women to compete against each other. And it's like, no, it's not. Because there are differences. Well, there's only differences because it's social. It's like, no, there are actual physical differences. And those get melded together. And a lot of that's Neptunian. A lot of that's Pisces. It's that water where it's like, you've got delusion comes into play. And it's self-delusion. You lose yourself into thinking, yes, we're exactly the same, and blah, 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 blah. We're exactly the same in certain areas. We are not in other areas. We're just not. Sorry. I mean,
right.
And it takes a balance between the two. And we just keep losing the balance. That's one of the biggest issues we've got, is losing that balance.
Right.
And the harmony between the genders. Which is what it should be. It should be a harmony between the genders and not a war between the genders. And it's turned into a war between the genders, and that's got to stop.
It does. It absolutely does. Because that's every partnership, everything. Marriage, whatever you have, it's that partnership. That's equal parts.
Yes. Fitting together. To make it work.
Yeah.
Yes. To make everything work out correctly. And good, and balanced, and harmonious. That's the goal, or that should be the goal. But it doesn't seem to be the goal anymore.
Right.
Everybody seems to have a me, I kind of goal now.
Right.
This is what I want. This is not what, well, you're married. This is now, then it comes what you as a couple want, not as an individual. Even though you can be an individual in the marriage itself is almost like its own individual.
Right.
And it requires a balance between the two to make it work. Because I think like divorce things that so high and things of that nature. We're only looking at Mars and Venus, and everybody forgot to look at the sun and the moon.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the big split between divine masculine, divine feminine is the sun and the moon. It's not.
Right.
Mars and
But
Venus.
it also, but that's that's what controls your essence and your emotions.
Yeah. 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 And those two need to be regulated. Again.
Right. Right.
But that's the big thing about gender in Hermetics. Okay. When those splits happen, those divisions happen, and balancing them out through 1, 2, and 3-dimensional reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because none of them can exist without the others. They just can't.
Right. Right.
Reality can't exist without those divisions. That's what creates our reality, essentially, are those divisions.
Oh, that would seem to be the first polarity division. I mean, between masculine and feminine.
Well, yeah, but not even polarity. When you even bypass that, it's because we talked about the all itself projecting energy into a division it made mathematically within itself. That's your first division of it,
Mm-hmm.
right there. And they're not two different poles. They're energy. It's just one's being projected into it, the other one's receiving it. And everything lives within both, because again, it's reflection and refracting. Okay, the first part's refracting, the second part reflects. Okay, that's the big part. That's the big division. You know, and they're not. Essentially, when you get to the actual first division, it's not so much a polarity.
Right.
It's the same energy. It's just one's doing one thing and one's doing another, and that's
Right.
what's causing that the divisions that those can then begin to divide into.
And that's taking that step outside of the polarity is where you step outside of neither is good or bad. They just are.
Yeah, they just are. And then that other first division that we've talked about before, when we talk about like spirit of the world, soul of the world, the nous and the logos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When the polarities come into play, it's because magnitude has been established.
Right.
And that first division predates, whatever you want to call it, or preempts magnitude.
Right.
So without magnitude, it's still all the same energy. It's just one's doing one and the other one's doing another thing. That's it. And then it divides into magnitude, and then you can get all of the other elements out of the magnitude. Because then, yes, fire is not air.
Right.
Okay? They're both masculine, but it's not air. Okay? Feminine is not water, even though it comes from it. Okay, and water is not earth.
Right.
But inherently they're both feminine. But they're not each other, and that's what magnitude does. It allows that reality is the foundation of all the rest.
Right.
Okay? Without one-dimensional reality, 2 and 3 can't exist.
Absolutely.
And neither can math. And I mean, nothing can exist outside of that. Without magnitude, and essentially 0 creating magnitude with 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because 0 is what it is before absence. And to create anything, absence has to allow 1 to create magnitude.
Right.
Okay? So that you know this is not this and this is not that.
Well, that's that individuality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Individual consciousness.
And that's where it pops in.
And that's where Earth, that's the first basis for Earth. Bam, 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 bam. Consolidating. You're not this, you're not this, you're not this, and you're not this, and you're not this.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, you share characteristics of 3-dimensional reality. And that's what turns air and water into means and into mediums to connect Earth and fire.
Right.
Which we don't need to get into in this discussion, but at the same time,
right, yeah.
All right, when you look at the breakdown there, water and air are not inherently masculine or feminine. They have properties of both, but they're not equal properties of both. Air has more of the masculine, water has more of the feminine.
You're right.
but they balance each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Because together they are perfectly balanced.
Right.
You set them right them apart individually, they're not. It's the strange part.
Okay. That is interesting.
But I think that's enough for gender today.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
It gets very interesting, but
well, it can, yeah. It can get really interesting when you start really diving into it.
You can go deep.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And you should.
If you want us to go deeper, yeah, let us know.
Yes, definitely.
We're definitely open to ideas and any questions you guys may have or anything else.
Yeah, make a comment. Do whatever you need to do. Definitely.
And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next time. And thank you for joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.